It was my son's 5th birthday party. My wife and I knew it was a very important birthday. Next year, our little boy Mikey would be going to school, so this was sort of the end of an era. However short, after a lot of debating, we decided on a clown for entertainment. I was against it. I was one of the many people who were afraid of clowns. As a kid, I trembled, shook, and started hyperventilating at the sight of one on television. But our son was not. Ever since Laura bought him some sort of computer game starring a clown, he had loved him. And as a father, I knew that I had to order to make my little boy the happiest. And if that meant ordering a clown, I would order a clown. Besides, I was grown up. They didn't scare me anymore. So I hoped. The kids were playing in the yard, stuffing their faces with cake and snacks and enjoying the world in the innocent way kids can. Laura and I waited for the clown in the living room. He was already 30 minutes late, but you can't expect clowns to be punctual. Finally, he arrived carrying a large pink bag. He introduced himself as Bonko and sat on our couch. He was your classic clown, white makeup and colorful puffy costume, big shoes, big nose, and an orange wig. The works Laura asked if she could bring him anything, but he declined. He sat in our living room for 15 minutes, smoking and tapping his shoe on the floor. He seemed nervous, and I would have sworn I would have seen him drinking out of a flask. "Is that your first time?" I asked. He chuckled without looking at me and said, "It's always his." I did not understand what he meant. After finishing his smoke, he put on a happy clown grin, grabbed his bag, and stood up and gave me a tap on the back. I thought that it was possible that he sensed some childhood fear and tried to relax me. Bonko went outside to start the show. He juggled, told jokes, sprayed water around. He did some classic slapstick. I even had to admit he was good, and the kids were just entranced. "And now for the big finish," he declared. He took out one of the colorful boxes from his bag. Then he looked at the presents. "Pick one, birthday boy." Mikey thought to himself he looked so cute, like he was trying to pretend to be an adult. Laura snapped a picture and he finally picked the middle one. Bonko sighed and grabbed it. "Oh boy, good choice," he said in a cartoony voice, although I would have sworn I could hear some sadness in there. Bonko opened the box and took out a knife. Laura and I were shocked, but before we could do anything, Bonko started cutting his own face. Bits of makeup or skin covered fall to the ground. The children were screaming. Our little Mikey was covered in the clown's blood and crying. I ran to stop Bonko, but he collapsed to the ground. The paramedics declared him dead. I looked inside the boxes and there was a small rifle, and the other a can of lighter fluid and a box of matches. All the kids, including our little Mikey, had to go to therapy. We had told the police, and they just looked at the floor, ignoring us. I decided that I wouldn't let this blow over. I tracked down the company that sent us the clown. It was situated in a small 2-story building. I expect a rundown, scary old place, but it was quite neat and modern. I marched up to the manager's office, not letting anyone stop me. I looked around and his face were blown up in pictures of clowns with their faces cut off, heads cut off, and bullet holes in their foreheads. Faces burnt off. It was terrible, and every picture had poor young children crying. The manager was a skinny man in a tie. He said he had to be in his late 40s and had big bulging eyes. "Why are you even doing this?" I yelled. He didn't answer. He just laughed at my face. 2 big guys came in from behind and dragged me out. "I will find someone who make you pay. I will not be silent." He smiled at me and motioned his goons to hold me in place. "Do you love your family?" he asked. "Of course," I said. "That's why I'm here." "You made a mistake, sir. Now enjoy the rest of your life." It has been 43 days since then, and I am still very afraid. Well, I could definitely say right now, that was Birthday Clown, a creepypasta. Um, I honestly thought this one was a pretty good story, but although it was pretty shocking at the end where, the clown cut his face off, I mean, oh my goodness. That one was definitely very terrifying. I'm not denying that now. That was pretty terrifying to see, a clown doing that. We all know clowns would not really sit there and do that or do this kind of thing because we all know clowns wouldn't do that. They would do crazy tricks and be silly and probably go overboard with craziness at times, but not like this. This story was definitely something that I've been kind of wanting to do because I remember hearing this from Lance at Creepy Reading as well as the Gothic Librarian, but also Dave the Useless, who also narrated the story. I mean, I saw a couple other people who also narrated this story, so I thought I would go ahead and read this story. Well, it looks pretty normal and looks pretty, typical for, a kid's birthday party. But to see a clown do that at the end, oh my god, I was like shaking because, that was pretty creepy, especially with the whole ordeal with it all. Like, to be honest, I mean, I didn't really expect this to go from 1 to 100 like really quickly. This clown Bonko, I have a feeling he might have been maybe mentally ill or something, which I'm assuming that could be why he, cut his face off in front of the kids like that. I mean, I'm assuming that's what pretty much what happened, but yet like I said, this is an older story, so I can't really complain much or say stuff much, but I could definitely say I think that's what it is. I really don't really know 100%, but I have a feeling this could be a possibility that the clown was mentally ill. I mean, it's all possible, and that's just what I came up with, but I mean, you guys might be able to, come up with an ideal as to, how this clown started to go off really crazy. Like seeing him sit there and cut his face off like that, I'm like, oh my goodness, that was very freaky to be honest. I mean, shocking, but not as shocking as I kind of expected. As I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely a really messed up concept. But I mean, it seemed pretty simple enough though. So, like I said, I really don't know who the original author of this story is. I know I've been saying that in most of my stories, but I'm just gonna leave this as anonymous for now. If I ever find out who the original author of this story is, or if the author manages to, see this and they comment saying that, they're the ones who wrote the story, or he or she for that matter, I'll be sure to give the author proper credit. But right now, I'm just gonna, wait and see what has to come to it. Like, if the offer manages to find this video, which I don't know if the offer will ever see it or not. So, with that being said, it's not a bad story. I did find it to be, pretty good. It does have a somewhat of a good concept, but, it's pretty freaky, especially with what the clown did. But like I said, I have a feeling the clown must have been, mentally ill or something. Which, I mean, that could explain why he cut his face off like that. Like, I have a feeling he was probably mentally ill or something. But yet again, you guys can put out your own theories in the comments below because I like to hear what you guys think. So, I guess with that being the case and with that being said, this is just simply my own personal opinion. And if you happen to disagree with me, that is perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. I'm gonna give this story a 9 out of 10. Mainly a 9 because it doesn't really explain what mental illness this clown has, but I have a feeling he had some sort of mental illness to the point where he, cuts his face off or does something really messed up, but despite that, I really thought this story was good. It has a pretty good concept. It actually plays really well, and I honestly really like this whole, concept as to, you know, what the story, could offer, especially at a kid's birthday party and that. I mean, if a clown really were to do that in real life, I'm pretty sure and I have no doubt that well, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I would have no doubt that the kids would be traumatized if that were to be the case. I mean, I know I would if I saw that as a kid. Okay. I guess that being said, what did you guys think about this creepypasta? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you're new to this channel, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notification to when I upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.